even though Fury doesn't have that, elusive snap power, a 270-pound man kind of pushes you over. It's like a thud. Okay, guys, so tonight we've probably got the biggest heavyweight fight in the last 10, 15, 20 years. Maybe the biggest fight in boxing other than Pacquiao or Mayweather versus Pacquiao, which didn't live up to the hype, but, it should have been done a little bit earlier. But this fight, as we know from the first fight, is prime time. Both athletes are in the prime of their life. We could see in the last fight, not the last fight they both had, although Wilder looked fantastic, but in the first fight that these two guys had, they were unbelievable. The scary thing is, I don't think Fury was at his best. So when we look at this fight for, obviously everybody's who's going to win, who's got the strengths, who's got the advantages. I think the scariest thing about all this is I don't think there's ever been a fight that's more 50-50 and people have never been more split or on the fence about this. Reason being, there's swings and roundabouts in both directions. But one of the biggest reasons is that in the first fight, Fury battered Wilder. In terms of points, if it was an amateur fight minus the knockdowns, some of those rounds would have been 10-8. That's how dominant they were if it was an amateur fight. But the thing is, Wilder's just got that cannon. He's got cannons in both hands, but that right hand is just a cannon. And when you've got that much power, in a 12-round fight with 3-minute rounds, that's 36 minutes where all he has to do is that. Just once. Just one, even with a glancing punch, as we saw from the first knockdown, he has to just do that one time in 36 minutes. And no matter how good Fury is, no matter how much better Fury is, and I think honestly he's probably 5 times the boxer in terms of skill level, etc. It just doesn't matter because he could be perfect for 11 rounds and 2 minutes of the 12th round and then just get hit in the final minute by an absolute bomb like last time. And then suddenly the judges have got a reason. That could be the end of the fight, but also the 3 American judges, which is going to be huge tonight, they've got a reason to give it to Wilder. So it makes it very, very difficult. Now, my logic from fight experience is that what originally was that Wilder had this second fight in the bag. Reason being, and nobody's been talking about this, the first fight, Fury got hit hard, and he got hit twice, and he was undoubtedly unconscious. He's even admitted it for 6 seconds, right? When that happens, any athlete, any sports player, let's say, and anybody playing in the NFL, when you go unconscious, you're never the same afterwards, and it becomes a little bit easier to go unconscious again. Over time, the more whacks you take, big heavy whacks, even just an accumulation of whacks in sparring, when they build up over time, your punch resistance, your chin, as they say, isn't as strong. So getting hit by a meteor of a punch, twice actually, as Fury did, and getting knocked down twice, but especially the second one where he was unconscious for 6 seconds, which is a long time, you're never the same person afterwards, right? So then Fury comes back. That's why I thought Wilder would win, because I thought he won't be the same man. I've been saying this for like 3 months, and I know he got back up, but it was a bit of a knockout, right? Some actually believe he was out for the full 10. He didn't actually make the 10 count. So, but when you get hit by a punch like that, you're never the same. So I've been saying the whole time his punch resistance is going to be lower. He's going to be a little bit more hesitant. Will he be the same boxer? Fury's had a fight since then, and I personally think that was a test of his chin, his durability before he went back in with Wilder. I think Fury and Fury's camp said, let's see if I've still got it. Let's see if that's going to prove a problem. It didn't. He was actually fine. He boxed pretty well. He took some good whacks. So that made me think, okay, the concussion theory isn't a problem. Bearing in mind he's not being hit by Wilder, but the concussion thing wasn't a problem. The only problem is, in that same fight, Fury sustained a giant cut here, and he was fighting off one eye with the amount of blood in his eye. If Wilder even clips you, he's opening that up again. You know, he might have had it hit in training, in sparring. If Wilder hits that again, you know, that could open up. Now Fury's got one eye, he's getting his ass beat. Because, you know, seeing Wilder's punches come with two eyes is hard enough. That's why he's knocked out everybody except Fury. Debatable. So it makes it very, very difficult. So that's where I got earlier in the week. And then the press conferences started. Then all the talk started, etc. And then we had the weigh-in. And my mind's just gone crazy. Like I said, 50-50. I've jumped back and forth on who I think is going to win. And even industry experts have done the same as well, which they never do. They usually stick with their pick, their one person. Here's where it gets very, very difficult, right? So I thought Wilder was going to knock him out. Then I read into what I thought about the concussion thing. I was like, nah, he's okay. And then I heard Fury's dad talk about how that was the worst possible Fury. How he was fat, he was out of shape, he hasn't trained in a while. You know, he had some level of ring rust at the top level. And you think to yourself, yeah, Fury, he's not wrong, actually. You know, that might have been the worst version of Fury that we could have seen. That's not exactly him in tip-top shape. It wasn't long ago he was drinking, he was on coke, and he had mental health issues. So that's him working his way back rather than working from a place of stability. So he's going from down here in a minors and coming up to a certain level. If he started from a level part or even up here, he's going to reach this level by the end of his training camp. So then that got me thinking, okay, so Fury's probably going to win this, because that, to be fair, was the worst Fury that we're going to see. But then people start saying that Wilder had a arm injury, his right arm was injured. So in training camp, he couldn't even throw it. And during the fight, he was like, well, I'll throw it, but I haven't been training it. You know, so you think to yourself, well, how good was Wilder? Then you start thinking about the tactics. You start thinking, well, can Fury do the same thing twice? Because now Wilder's got his eye in, he knows how he moves, he's got video of him fighting Fury, and he knows how he moves, where his head dips, you know, he knows how to catch him now. So you think basically we're starting at the 13th round, and if that's the case, then you think, well, Wilder's going to hit him at some point, because now he's seen 12 rounds of Fury movement, and he's been in there with him. You know, logic says he's probably going to hit him a lot easier this time. But then you also think, well, Fury's now seen the way that Wilder moves, and he managed to dodge everything he threw by about 3 punches in the last fight. So who's to say he can't do that again, but just go one better? And he is twice, like I said, 5 times the boxer that Wilder is. Could he pull that off? So then I was on the fence. I was 50-50. I didn't know who to pick. I then get some news while I was watching a video that Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua's promoter, said that he had a call earlier in the week, and he spoke to a guy at the kind of press conference event, the lead up to it, that Fury, a guy on the inside, that Fury is not going to win that fight, 100% guaranteed. Something's majorly wrong. He's got no chance of winning that fight. So then Eddie Hearn, who previously thought that Fury was going to win, now says Wilder's going to win for sure, 100% definite. You know, and I don't think Eddie Hearn's trying to, like, I don't know, spin doctor this or, you know, change the betting odds or whatever. The guy's got a ton of money. He's not trying to do some insider trading, you know, manipulation as such. So I definitely think that what he heard was definitely a major thing. So then I'm on the side of Wilder and I think, yeah, okay, let's go with the concussion thing again. Now I'm convinced that maybe, you know, he got knocked out in sparring. Maybe Fury's not looking his old self. But then we see the weigh-in. And Fury turns up heavy. You know, I think he weighed in. What did he weigh in at? 270 odd pounds. That's just ridiculous. That is a big, big, big man at 6'9" with that kind of weight. But then I see Wilder, and I was saying to my girlfriend this morning, I was watching the weigh-in, and I said, yeah, and also for any press out there that's saying both fighters made weight, it's heavyweight. You don't make weight. There's no weight limit unless you're in the UFC. So that's bullshit. So change that, please. So I had a look at Wilder's physique. The guy stepped in there. Usually comes in at like 212, something around that limit. He's really light, and everyone always laughs at it. He's come in at 230 odd pounds. and he still looks elusive. He still looks lean. He had an 8-pack. He looked shredded. A 230-pound, elusive, shredded Wilder just has to tickle your chin and he's putting you to sleep. If he even jabs you, it's going to feel like you've been hit by a Mack truck. So then I'm back on that 50-50 thing where I'm like, well, you know, both men are in tremendous shape. And I watched an interview with David Haye, and he said that he's not changed his mind, but he's definitely edging more towards, I think he said Wilder still to win, but he's edging more towards Fury. He said he's more confident that he'll do well because he saw the shape he was in. He said his arms looked shredded when he went like that. You know, it was all muscle. Last time it was all fat. So it brings us back to that theory that maybe Fury's dad was right, that it was the worst possible Tyson Fury last time. And does that get inside Wilder's head? Does Wilder think to himself, well, last time he outboxed me easily, and he knows he lost deep down. Wilder knows he lost on points, right? He'll say no for confidence purposes, but he knows he lost. And does Wilder think to himself, well, Fury looks 10 times better this time, and he battered me last time for about 11 and a half rounds. Is the same going to happen this time, but he's of a much higher level, so can I even compete with him? There's going to be some doubt in Wilder's head. But and David, like I said, David Haye said that Fury's looking far better, so that swayed me more towards Fury. So now I'm thinking, okay, so I think maybe Fury's going to win. And this is what's crazy about this fight. You then think, why did they put the weight on? Why did Fury put the weight on? Why did Wilder put the weight on? Did he hear that Fury was putting it on and he tried to match him? Is it vice versa? Did Fury hear that Wilder was putting the weight on, try and match him? And you think to yourself, well, in Fury's last fight, he got on the inside because he had the bloody eye. And I remember Max Kellerman, I was watching an interview with him, the ESPN guy. And he said that Fury had one eye, so he thought, well, tell you what, if we go and fight head to head, chest to chest, and we fight on the inside, then both of us have got no eyes, and it's all about touch and skill level. And that's how he won the fight. And Max was saying that he thought Fury actually liked it. That was, he felt at ease, he felt confident, and he believes that he's put on the extra weight to go and fight Wilder on the inside, to get close to him, head on his chest all night long, and just dirty box him on the inside, stop him getting that distance. Wilder's going to try and step back and touch him. But if Fury's on that inside, dirty boxing, making it awkward, good head movement, with that 270-pound plus frame, just leaning on Wilder for, let's say, 12 rounds, he's going to be so tired, and it might diminish some of his power, and it will definitely diminish his stamina with the way that Wilder boxes, even though Wilder's turned into more of a sniper approach in recent years. But then you think, well, Wilder's 230 pounds. And if they do dirty box, I think, yeah, Fury's going to dominate every element of wherever they are. But a 230-pound Wilder is scary. It's scary. He's about 20 pounds heavier than he normally is. So if he even jabs or just clocks him slightly on the chin, he's going to wobble him, And as much as my heart says, my logic says Fury wins. Because the last Fury was terrible. This is the best Fury we're going to get. He looks fantastic. He's heavier. He says he's going to take it to Wilder and try and knock him out. And I think there was a lot of opportunities in the last fight where, great head movement, ducks out the way, Wilder's wide open, but he's thinking, okay, defend first, win on points. Wilder's open to get hit a lot. And he's proved he's got a good chin, but a 270-pound man, all he has to do is just tag you lightly for the 270-pound man, and you're going to get wobbled. They can kind of do, even though Fury doesn't have that, elusive snap power, a 270-pound man kind of pushes you over. It's like a thud. And when they hit you, they just kind of, you get knocked down by like a push, more like weight, just throwing you to the floor rather than getting, KO'd or wobbled. And I think the conclusion to this is that, like I said, my logic says Fury's going to win because he should. He's the better boxer. He's got a much better skill level. But don't be surprised, if Wilder just hits him with just the most ridiculous overhand right and just puts him to sleep for about a week straight. But you have to go with your logic. That's the puncher's chance. It always is with Wilder, but it's just such a good punch, right? But you have to go with the logic of Fury because you just think, well, it's the better version that we're going to get here. But if that's where you want to put your money on, it's just risky because you got that one punch that can end it any moment. 36 minutes, he just has to hit him once, right? So I think the logic here, if people want to go and make some serious money betting, I think you're going to get some good odds on both guys to touch down, both guys to get knocked down at some point, and then bet on who you want to win, or just both guys to get knocked down. I think you could probably get some really good odds on that. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I might just put like 50 quid on both men to get knocked down at some point during the fight. I just think Wilder's pretty much guaranteed a knockdown in any fight he's in. And Fury is such a superior boxer, and if this time he's heavier and he wants to hit Wilder, he's actually actively seeking the punches. Somebody of that weight and that skill level is probably going to hit him. You know, he's going to hit it. The accumulation of punches is going to be high, and with that extra weight, I think he could kind of shove him down. You know, I don't think it'll be like a leg wobble knockdown. I think Wilder might just get sat down. He'll be completely conscious and he'll just get back up and just carry on. I think it'd be one of those knockdowns. But I think that's where the money's at. Both guys to get knocked down. And I know I'm British, but I'm going to say Fury for the win. I'm going to ignore the whole Eddie Hearn rumor thing, because I think what maybe they heard was that Fury was coming in at 270. And they assumed, okay, that's going to be a fat Fury. It's going to be like the old Fury. He's back on the drink and the cocaine, although cocaine should lose you weight. But, you know, he's back to that party lifestyle. He's not going to be moving the same. He's going to be easier to hit. But a 6'9" man with the extra weight, it won't make that much difference. It's not like I'm 6'2". If I put on an extra 20, 30 pounds, I'm going to be a lot slower. Fury puts it on. He's so big anyway, it's not going to matter as much. He's not going to be as slick, but it's not going to matter as much. I just think boxing logic, you know, he's the superior boxer, and we see this in MMA. If you get somebody who's more well-rounded, who has a great ground game, like a Khabib, they usually beat McGregor. You know, that type of person. Somebody who's a specialist versus somebody who's well-rounded. You know, specialist knockout artist versus Khabib, who can punch a little bit. You know, he can wrestle. He's tapped a few people out, you know, and you think to yourself, well, he's the more well-rounded guy. And I think it's the same here. I think Fury's the more well-rounded guy. He can box on the inside, the outside. You know, he's probably got some power, even though people say he's got pillow hands. You think, well, at his weight and his level, and his knockout ratio is not actually that bad. You know, he's TKO'd a lot of people. So I think when you look at who's the more well-rounded fighter, you've got logic has to go with Fury. But don't be surprised if we all wake up tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, maybe you'll watch the fight. But don't be surprised if the highlights being played tomorrow on ESPN and all these platforms is just an astronomical meteor from Wilder just coming straight over with the right hand and just destroying Fury and just putting him down. And that's all we see on social media for the next 10 weeks. Who knows? Enjoy the fight, guys.
Riding with me, I know feet. Different things, them happening, schemes and packaging. In a one night, 4 shows, I'm juggling. Flow like the ocean, my boat, I'm